that's enough of that. Close Tumblr. Make sure it's okay. Alright. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Finally, he's here on time.
Anyway, hello everyone. Hello.
Welcome to Left for Random Talk. This is a podcast that me and Rev have been working on for a long time.
All right then. As always, I'm just getting the topic list ready for the evening, so we know what we're talking about.
Yep. I'm already
Bit
on
of
it.
news.
Yeah.
Good. Bit of news happening this week. I guess that's towards the end of it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so going down the list real quick, we have id and Bethesda planning on a video game cinematic universe. An ambitious idea, but will they do it? Talking about Doom Eternals, what we expect and how we expect it to play out. IGN employee plagiarizes small YouTuber's review for a quick buck, gets fired from IGN and cries about it. Also, update to it. He was stealing more people's works while in IGN.
Wow.
Bethesda forces Amazon user not to resell a game. And I am calling it right now, they are becoming greedy fucks. And lastly, talking about a small game called Remember Me.
I think, wasn't Jacksepticeye playing that game?
Remember Me? I believe so.
I'll have to double check.
All right then. So let's get into some of the stuff. I guess we'll start with the first topic. This whole Bethesda id Software cinematic universe they're trying to do, or video game cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
I find this kind of interesting because it basically is they're not going to make it into movies. They're literally going to try and create, at least from what I've heard, trying to create I guess a giant tie-in or crossover video game.
He did not play the game. Okay. He didn't play the last topic.
Oh, I didn't play the last topic.
No, he didn't play the last topic. I was checking his channel.
Oh, okay. I thought for a second you were talking about someone else. Like, who else is here?
No.
All right. So yeah, this whole cinematic universe, video game cinematic universe thing sounds interesting, but I think what they're planning to do is basically use Quake Champions as the springboard for this plan, because that's what it seems. You know, and it isn't just that, but I've also noticed that they've been saying, or they've been doing a lot of kind of Easter egg crossovers with a lot of their see things from an example being like Wolfenstein. You'll see things in it that are related to Doom, such as the Nazis talking about like one of their experiments brought some sort of creature from a different realm, and they describe it as and it's basically an imp from the games. Or it could be something even as subtle as a Caco demon plushie. Just small things like this. And then you've got the Evil Within 2 specifically. They had this humongous haul of Easter eggs all over the place, and it was just like random shit that you would not expect to see in the Evil Within 2. Like an actual Bethesda Fallout bobblehead, for example. Like it was actually ripped from the game itself.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is why I kind of think that they're using Easter eggs and other such things to kind of tie it all together. Like, this isn't just them saying, "Hey, look at this cool Easter egg," yada yada yada. No, this to me seems like they're trying to imply that most of these games might be connected with one another.
That's dumb. That's very dumb. Like, just hearing this like makes me think of like the Pixar theory that everybody seems to grasp without even really thinking about it.
The Pixar theory.
The Pixar, like, you watch like Pixar movies like A Bug's Life, Wall-E, Finding Nemo, stuff like that. You see these Easter eggs in it that are shout outs to previous movies, like the pizza truck from Toy Story. You see the ball with a star on it, also from Toy Story. You see pictures of the monsters from Monsters Inc. You see all these little teasers of different movies that they've done in the past, and everybody has this ongoing theory that all these movies are tied to each other in some way. I call bullshit. I mean, when you make a game or you make a movie, you like to add in these little teasers of, hey, we like this thing, and I know you like this thing too, so it's right there. Let's see if you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
They like doing callbacks to their old movies because they like reminding you that, hey, we made this amazing thing. It's not connected in any way. It's just there.
The only one I could say, like, I don't subscribe to the whole all the movies are connected, because then you've got this stupid thing of like people, because if what is it? It's like with cars and saying, "Oh, it's connected to Finding Nemo's." Nemo's like, how? It's pretty clear these are two separate things, but whatever.
You say that like the pizza truck is in Cars. You see it driving around and talking.
No,
to
I mean,
people.
like, I mean in terms of like Finding Nemo is connected to Cars because they both have the same. You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only time I think the only times I think anything from Pixar is connected to each other is so minute that I kind of explain it away as, oh, the pizza truck's there. It's like I what's the word? I just assume, oh, it's like a fast food chain that's always been around. So that kind of shit. When it makes sense, I mean, not when it's some crazy, stupid. Oh, this. That you get what I'm trying to say.
I think the only movies that have a potential of being connected is any Pixar movie and then Wall-E. Because Wall-E is set like 400, 700 years in the future, thousands of years in the future, and everything is dead and destroyed, and the pizza truck is there in ruins. Like, that's the only thing we're clinging to, pizza.
I get it, but with to go back to Evil Within 2, some of the Easter eggs. Like, actually, I'll share one of these, so that way people know what I'm talking about here. The description for all of these Easter egg items are the same. There's no like, oh, it's from blah 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 blah. It's the same description for each item. Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually do want to wear that someday. Just have one of my own.
Yeah, but then here's the problem. A lot of the items of Evil Within is basically one of them is a mug from Transtar, which is the company in Prey. And then you immediately remember, wait a minute, that can't exist now. That's like several years into the future. The fuck? It's this kind of shit that's irritating. But yet Bethesda wants to push this idea of, let's create a video game cinematic universe and then create games like movie, this kind of crazy, absurd shit. And I honestly believe they're going to try and use an upcoming Quake game to to tie all these games or some of these games together. And this is what's kind of like this could go in one of two ways, in my opinion. One, it could be this Quake um, this Quake cinematic game they create. I say cinematic, it's like a crossover game. This Quake crossover game could work. They could basically say this thing takes place in its own timeline, yada yada yada. None of the other games are connected to this, etc., etc. And then if they do that, if they do that, people are going to be okay with it because Quake's always been this weird game of everything's like it's all these heroes and characters from different games all just kind of jumping in one place, and you can stomach that, and that's not too much of an issue. It's just if they try to tie this all together and try to create some horrible Frankenstein's hodgepodge cinematic movie game, that could lead to some serious issues. Like, how do I put it? There are people who are fans of like Doom, for example, and then you got people who are fans of Wolfenstein, Dishonored, all these different games. And maybe they don't like the other games. Maybe they just want to play this, not have anything to do with this other series. But then they have all this shipping forced to them, and people just get annoyed. They'll get angry. They'll start slinging accusations. Just it can get really bad really fast. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Plus, when a developer makes a cinematic game, something like this, they are trapping themselves in a sense. They can't make anything new. They can't make anything unique because they have already determined this is what's going on and this is set in stone. And they can't change that.
Exactly. And it gets to the point where the crossover stuff, for example, can also get really bad because then you're potentially ruining a game's story for an upcoming game. A perfect example of this would be Quake and not Quake, Doom and Wolfenstein have had crossovers before. It's heavily implied that some of the things from Quake, from Doom, happened in Wolfenstein. That's kind of the thing they've gone with. That's not too much of that's, in my opinion, that's not a bad thing. It really isn't. But they've done it in subtle ways and enough to make it feel like it works. Because Wolfenstein, no matter what people will say, has always had a fantasy, medieval sort of mythological element to it. That's always been what's made Wolfenstein interesting, not just the gun gameplay. I mean, and it was easy for people to get used to the idea that whenever the protagonist would accidentally tear a hole in reality or create a portal or something like that and face these monsters, it was always easy to believe these were just other demons from Doom. But it was never specifically saying, hey, this is this, or it was always subtle and in a good way. But then you've got what's going on now. You've got Wolfenstein taking a different approach forward, and you've got Doom taking its other approach. And what could happen is if they go out and specifically say, hey, these two games share the same universe, you basically kind of ruin what makes, for example, what makes Wolfenstein so interesting, because people will be like, oh, why do I want to bother playing this game? I know in the future this company is going to come up and then it's going to take this out, and it ruins the excitement.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I said, if they do go with this cinematic universe idea, which I suspect they will, it's going to be very much like a it has to be its own thing. They have to separate these things from the main games in order for this to work at all.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it can all work if they do this. You know, they could say, what's the word I'm looking for here? They could say something along the lines of like, the Wolf Quake, for example, has always had this portal dimension thing. Everyone always kind of gets into these games via some weird portal or something like that. That's fine. You know, you could basically say this is a pocket dimension, and it can work. Hell, even a lot of the characters they have, the protagonists, uh, they can work together as well. There is potential here. They just have to be extremely careful with what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like I guess in summary, Bethesda has to create an original concept for this crossover game story to work, and they need to they need to they need to stick with it. They can't just pluck some story thread from a different game, because again, you'll just basically be setting it in stone, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so on to our next topic.
I swear to God, if they do like if they go lazy and do something about that has to do with like time manipulation, I'm gonna be so pissed.
You same. I've always hated time.
That is not creative. That is lazy. That is insanely lazy.
Exactly. I mean, what makes Wolfenstein interesting is the fact that this is an alternate reality sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time travel bullshit that says, oh, Hitler did this and went back in time and did. No, there's nothing like that. It's always been this alternate thing. And that's what's made it interesting. Anyway, so I suppose we should move on to our next one.
Yep.
Actually, I think we'll skip into. Yeah, we'll save Doom Eternals towards the end with everything else. So we'll just jump to 3. The IGN employee.
Oh.
So I think. So, yes. So let me see if I can find the article. Plagiarized. This story broke specifically with again, one of our big sources, Young Yeah, as always. He broke the story. Actually, I might as well look up his original videos or his original video on the topic so people can like go to it. Again, like just like someone here, we're actually crediting our source and not claiming it as our own. Amazing.
We try very hard not to do that. If we can't find the links for it, then we either save it for another time or we actually take the time to look for it. It might not be entertaining, but we actually take the time to try and look for it.
Yeah, because unlike this fuckface who basically came out and says like, oh, it's hard to find the sources. Like, no, it's really not.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Well, again, he's kind of covered this quite a bit and extensively. So I guess we'll go with the first. I'm just going to like the original first video he did, and people can like kind of follow it from there. It's all there. Just he'll cover everything. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do what I accidentally did last time.
Which is I'm going to play this and get destroyed.
Yeah, I did not realize it was gonna do that.
You see, whenever I get on and with you for these streams, I always mute the stream itself.
Well, the thing is, when OBS opens a video, it goes to a new window of YouTube as though I have never logged in my life. So I really have no control of the volume.
I see. All right, so let's see here. I'm trying to find the name of this guy as well. Because, by the way, his name is public, so it's not like I'm doxing the guy either. All right, let's see here. So basically, this was all covered or this all happened because of the latest, a new game came out called Dead Cells, and someone called, I believe it's Boomstick Games, a YouTuber basically, pretty small guy, I would say, created a review of the game. Pretty quick, very about like 10 minutes, something like that, right? Around that range.
Yeah.
And what wound up happening is that within a few days later, the IGN comes out with their own review. And the guy noticed that, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of like play for play what I said. Like some of the words weren't the same, but the beats were all the same. And sometimes whole sentences were repeated. And of course, it's not like, what's the word? It's not coincidental. This isn't like someone saying, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not like, it's not like you look up an article and then you read it and then you paraphrase some of it or you give your own input on it.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was completely one for one. Everything was being copied in totality. And the guy basically came out, Boomstick Gaming came out and said, hey, I believe your editor here, who did the review, the written review and the video review, is plagiarizing my stuff. He's copied it, and I kind of want, some.
Be credited
What's the
for
word
it,
I'm looking for?
or
Yeah.
compensation
He
for
wanted
it,
to
something
be.
like that.
He wanted both credit and some compensation for it. Not a lot. Like he wasn't asking for 1,000.
Yeah.
I would like to get this, this, and this. So IGN goes into it and they start checking. Here we are. The guy's name who plagiarized it is Philip Mewson, and that's spelled Miucn. So Philip here basically copied the entire thing, and IGN, despite what a lot of people will say about the company, it takes plagiarism very seriously. Obviously, it's a company; they have to do that. So they check into what Philip did, and it turns out he did completely plagiarize the whole thing. So within a few minutes, or I guess even within a day, actually, believe it or not, they fired the guy completely.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy,
Good
crazy,
idea.
isn't it?
Good idea.
Yeah. So they dropped him. They pulled his article and everything. That is how serious they took it. They pulled everything. They got rid of the guy, and they actually issued an official apology to both Boomstick Gaming and and basically extended, hey, look, we're sorry. We'll stay in contact. We'll do something. Da, 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 da. They kept up their word, which was amazing. So then we have but obviously we wouldn't. If this was the end of it, we'd stop covering this completely, right?
Yep.
There's more. So Philip here is out of the job, obviously. So he thinks it's a good idea to get on his computer and record himself to quote unquote apologize. He didn't apologize at all. He didn't apologize at all. He came out and said, look, I was fired from my job. I did this, I did that, yada, yada. Never once did he apologize to Big Gaming or admit his faults here. It was basically more along the lines of, I'm sorry I got caught rather than I'm sorry I did this to you. The apology goes up, and it turns out he even tried to monetize the thing. And in the entire thing, he basically was trying to appeal to other games journalism news outlets like Forbes, Kotaku, all these other groups. And he even said, look, my stuff is still on IGN. I have my resume there, yada, yada, yada. Just, come and talk to me if you're interested.
No. No.
He doesn't even. It would have been smarter to make the apology, say you're sorry, literally say you're sorry, then maybe 2 days later, put out that public offer of employment. That would have been the smart thing to do. But no, obviously, Philip doesn't do smart. He does stupid. So then people began to get curious. What, if this was just a one-time thing or not. They look into it, and it turns out he's been plagiarizing people for 4 years now. Non-stop. The small list of games he has played, reviews he has actually stolen from other people, clearly other YouTubers, by the way, who are, I'm willing to bet he stalked and targeted YouTubers who were much smaller than him, or sorry, much smaller than IGN, and then basically took everything verbatim and then put it up. And I assume he expected that since they're so small and everything, they won't come after him. So as you can imagine, the list of games goes as for Bayonetta 2, several Nintendo games, The Elder Scrolls. Just the list goes on, and that's just a handful. It then also goes out to find out that he even plagiarized, as he basically just copied his own resume. He went to some site and copy and pasted the entire thing and put it up out there as his own.
What?
This guy
is stupid.
He really is. He really is.
Like, as an artist, this is the one thing you never ever want to hear or see. You don't want to hear or see your own work being taken by somebody else and them calling it their own when it's your work.
Exactly. It gets better apparently. So, hold on a second.
Wow.
Sorry about that. Sorry. So basically, from there, exactly. You don't want that to happen. It's like what's the name of that guy? The game theorist. Oh God, what's his name? MatPat. That's it. As we all know, MatPat is in for stealing other people's work.
Yeah, you cut out there. We understood what you meant.
Yeah, infamous for stealing other people's work and passing it off as his own. We all know that. And what Philip did here was basically the same thing. He just went around and what makes it worse is he targeted the little people. He didn't go after anybody else. He just went after people who he knew either didn't have the clout or would notice that he stole their work. And then he passed it off as his own. And honestly, you want my opinion on this? Like completely like straight face. This isn't fact, this isn't nothing. This is purely from me. I hope he never gets another job in the industry again. This fucker does not deserve it. He really doesn't. I'm sorry, but you need to get off the internet. You can no longer work in this industry. Nobody will associate with you. And honestly, you deserve not to be employed by anybody else, at least in games journalism. As my grandfather would say, stick a knife in it, it's done.
When I've actually experienced like somebody stealing my artwork before, numerous times. When it comes to the art community, and you decide that you're going to steal something from another creator. It doesn't matter if it's writing somebody's story word for word, just adding your own little flair to it, or taking somebody's drawing and tracing over it and saying it's yours. The second you do that, the entire community rains heaven and hell on you.
Exactly.
You will never ever be able to associate yourself with an artist. You will never ever be able to get your ideas out there because you had the gall to copy somebody's work and refuse to apologize. Mind you, a lot of people don't do this. Refuse to apologize, refuse to listen, and just continue pushing that this product that you've done is yours. You're not just ruining other people's lives, you are also going to be ruining your own life. You're not going to be able to get any help from other people. And this guy is very likely never, ever going to get a job because of what he has done.
Exactly. And honestly, it's at this point where...
Cut out.
Sorry, it's at this point where, honestly, he really does deserve everything that's happening to him, and then he really does.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's somebody else I know of, or something else that's happening as of late right now, and that is the what's it called? And that is what are those people called? The people who do animations and about their... What is that?
Animations what?
About their lives. Like they talk about their life or life experiences, and then they
drama
animate
life or something like that.
No, they've got like a different Storytime anime.
Them, yeah.
Yeah, like right now, someone in the community has basically been caught as someone who traced over another animator's like stuff, re-edited it, redid it, and passed as their own. And for months now, or weeks, I'm not even sure how long this has been going on. People have been saying it's like, hey, that doesn't look right, or it's kind of inconsistent, and yada yada yada. And he was denying he traced. Then when the heat just got too much, he comes out, he admits he traces, and then tries to give this bullshit explanation about like I don't know, like something about the original creator liking people who copy him, just blah 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 blah. It's
no.
Exactly, it's just that it was just him trying to save face and failing at it.
The only ever time an artist has something there for you to trace over is if it says specifically in the title free base. If it says base, then you can use it. Then you can trace over it. You can do whatever the hell you want with it because it's a free tool for those who don't draw very well to have a structure to build on.
Exactly.
That is the only time you're allowed to, I want to say copy, but it's really not. But that's the only time you're allowed to trace over an image.
Well, even then, usually these bases are just even then sometimes they're just traced over from an original source.
For the most part, when you make a base, like I'm mostly taking this from experience as well. When you make a base, you ask the artist first, and if you don't ask the artist first, you're immediately told to take it down. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have nobody looking at your work.
Exactly. And just again, like I guess what you can tell from us is that we're very much against people who take somebody else's work and
calls it their own.
And claims exactly. Like, look, I'm going to be honest. Whenever I write or do something of anything, I'll flat out say I was inspired by or yada yada yada, and then I try to make that original source something new. Plain and simple. I don't take an entire story word for word and then try to make it my own. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. It's just not right.
We should probably move on from this before we blow up our houses or something.
Fair enough. I was actually looking for something in relation, but I can't find it. But so to cover basically, Philip Mewson is a copying rat and deserves to get nothing for the rest of his days. I honestly hope he didn't put any other effort into his life, like as in his schooling or anything like that. He went for one thing alone, and I really do. Because I wanted to see him at an entry job, like McDonald's and something. And by the way, Philip, if this is true, and I see you, I'd like you to remember this. I'd like 3 double cheeseburgers plain, please.
I would rather him work at Pizza Hut. Because I want you to make an HH special. Freshly cut onions, mushrooms, bacon, peppers, garlic sauce on the crust, and I want extra hot sauce. The kind of stuff that makes your nose burn.
Just nothing but pure rage towards this guy. And for the record, the reason why we're not putting the guy's face on any of this is because we don't care.
Yeah, we're not putting his name up there. We're not putting his face on here. But what I can recommend to this is, like, if you do see a review of anything, doesn't matter what it is, anything out there, and it has his name on it, put it up there and like put it a spotlight on it and see if anybody recognizes it, or at the very least, don't put any attention to it. Immediately call his employer and have them investigate it or something. Just don't put attention to it.
Exactly, and even then, a lot of the reviews he's written have already been pulled down.
Good.
So, yeah. All right, I think we've beaten Philip Mewson into the ground enough.
Not as bad as the director, but we'll get to that some other day.
Mm-hmm. All right then. So, let's keep up the hate train for a little bit then.
All right.
And we're going straight into the Bethesda fuckery. So, as everyone here, excuse me, what's the word? As everyone here might have already known, we talked about, what's it called? We've talked about Bethesda in the past, and we talked about Fallout 78 and, no, 76, sorry. And we talked about how Bethesda wants to have it on their platform, not Steam. And then I said, I basically said, like, this reeks of money. This is them not wanting to play ball. They don't want to take most of the money. They want to take it all. And we all said, like, oh no, that can't be the case. Yada yada yada. Well, it turns out I might be more on the ball than I expected, and that is the following information. Bethesda, what's the word? Bethesda basically attacked and hold on a second. Let me find the article properly. Bethesda basically came in. Yeah, here we go. So they came in, and as the story goes, someone bought The Evil Within 2 as a game for the PS4, I believe. And what was happening at the time was that, the guy he never opened it, never played it. He apparently planned to hang on, let me find it. Yeah, here we go. So the following article is from Destructoid, and it goes as following: Bethesda demands seller to seller remove his copy of
what? You cut out.
The Evil Within 2.
Okay.
And basically, the guy listed it as new. And this is true. The guy never opened it from its packaging, never did anything with it. It was brand new, basically. And it was that. So this guy, the seller, Ryan Hupp, and that's Hupp, Hupp, placed the listing for The Evil Within 2 on Amazon to be sold. Bethesda saw this and went completely ballistic. Their reasons for attacking him was he was not an, and I quote, authorized reseller, and that the sale of the game as new was unlawful, again in massive quotes. Their issue was with basically the word new in the description instead of used. And this didn't stop there. They didn't just come over and say, hey, can you not list it as new or whatever else have you? No, they went so far as to attack the guy with legal documents using one of their legal firms known as Voris. That's Vorys. They attacked the guy with it, and they basically threatened him, saying, either you remove the game and we put it as used, or we're going to sue you for everything you owe. Now, I want to let everybody know, by the way, that this is against the law, which is known as first sale doctrine. And to put it in it protects users looking to resell legal copies of trademark products they have previously purchased. In other words, if you buy a game and you want to resell it to get money, to get your own money, the company that made the game has no legal right to come after you and say, you can't do that, or give us the money instead. It's ours. So as you can imagine, it just went, it basically exploded, and people are just getting incredibly enraged with it. Bethesda has basically declared war, on anyone who wants to resell a game they purchased as new instead of used. And this isn't, upon further investigation and on my own behalf, I think I know why they attacked him over the reason he listed it as new. And again, it comes back to money. They wanted, if it was listed as used, not a lot of people would offer a lot of money for it, because we're all wired like this. We don't buy anything used. We don't like to buy anything used, right?
Sometimes you have to just make that exception. Depends what it is.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, people will oftentimes refer.
For what?
That's what?
You cut out. Most people what?
Most people would rather buy something new rather than used. It's kind of like the principle of the something of that nature. That's how most people are. And basically, anything that's new, people will tend to pay more for it. Whereas it's something used, they'll pay a lot less for it. That's basically how it boils down to. Bethesda knew that this game was listed as new, and because it was listed as new, it would get more money for the user. So instead, they went ballistic. They attacked him, and they basically told him if he doesn't put it as used, they're going to, they're going to destroy this guy's life. And basically, he was put against the wall. Here, and I'm going to read off the legal document they gave him out legally. He released to the public. It reads as following, and I quote, unless you remove all Bethesda products from your storefront, stop selling any and all Bethesda products immediately, and identify all sources of Bethesda's products you are selling. We intend to file a lawsuit against you. They then went into the following. Once the story became breaking and coming out during all this, people asked Bethesda directly, why are they doing this? Destructoid Source spoke to Peter Hines, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications. And he said the following, and I quote, "He's not trying to sell a second-hand game, he's trying to sell a new game. He was listing product as if it was new. All we're saying is if it's a previously owned product, you have to sell it as a previously owned product. You cannot represent it as new because we have no way to verify what you're selling actually is new." So honestly, I have to ask you at this point, the fuck is wrong with them?
I'll be honest, I didn't understand any of that.
It's word salad. That's basically what it is. They're not giving a direct statement or reason as to why they're doing this. They're a bunch of words and claiming this, and this, so that way people will just be like, oh yeah. So this is what, and by the way, I checked into that company, Voris, by the way. On their first page, they proudly state that they are willing and able to fight for companies to go around first sale doctrines. They are willing to break the law for anyone who pays them enough. It's disgusting. It really is. And this is what has led me and everybody, sorry, let me start again. This is what's leading a lot of people to worry now. Because Bethesda has just tipped their hand. They've just shown that they are willing to go down to EA's level to get a quick buck. And actually, no, let me rephrase that. They've actually proven to be worse than EA. Because as far as I know, EA has never gone after anybody reselling their games as new. Again, I could be wrong. If anybody knows the truth, please let me know.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
So honest question now. Do you think Fallout 76 is going to do?
Gonna do what?
Is going to do well now?
Oh, see, unless the guy really puts it out there and doesn't. Let me retry that. If the guy really puts this out there, shines a spotlight on it, and refuses to stay silent about it, then 76 will have less sales, but I'm not going to say it's going to dip. There are so many fans of Bethesda games, it's going to be hard to make a dent.
True, but unlike with their other properties, where chomping at the bit for, there's been very little like fan appeal for the game. There really hasn't been that much. And honestly, with like I said, with Fallout Miami coming out so soon, it's going to bury 76. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, in my honest opinion, it should. It really should. And by the way, this basically has also led us on one horrible truth as well. Any games we buy from Bethesda, Doom, Wolfenstein, Rage 2, Fallout, all these games, Bethesda has just made it extremely clear they're not ours. We are renting from them. And at any time, they can say, no, fuck you. You're going to give us all the money that we feel you owe us if you resell this thing.
That is true and dumb. That is very, very dumb.
Mm-hmm. I can only hope that. Well, I don't believe this will cause too much of a backlash because the guy did acquiesce to their request as it is. He did remove all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's going to redo it as used, all of it. But my point still stands here. They're going to try and push this further. They've already set the to do for the sake of their company. How long before they start attacking anybody else who does stuff with their, their quote unquote property? Like, how long before they actually will attack the workshops or anything of that nature?
Well, technically they already did with the whole payment thing, but Bethesda is like we're talking about them attacking people about their property. I should remind you, they attacked somebody for making a mobile game that only shares one word with one of their games. Just one word. Because they thought they had the entitlement to one word.
Exactly.
One word, Bethesda. One word. Where is your fucking brains? Where is the logic?
Like, this is how I've been.
You're
all
cutting
these games
out
come.
so much.
I said this is how I see these game publishers as of late, or like all the companies. I don't see them as people, and I don't see them as entities. I just see them as fucking parasites, monsters that are willing to do horrible and unsavory things just to get a meal at all. EA is EA is basically some angler predator monster that just dangles sweetness in front of things before attacking. And EA is some demented bull that is rushing around attacking everything because it thinks that it's everything that people are doing belongs to it. That is what they are. And honestly, this is why I hope Digital Devolver, the last true gamers haven, survives further and further along. Because I'm hoping one day they just bury these two beasts and get on with our lives. And honestly, this is painted Doom Eternal for me in a very negative.
Which sucks
Now,
because it looks really good.
exactly. Like, now, is this me saying I'm going to hope it burns to the ground? No. I still think there's potential here. And it's clear that the guys who are doing this are members of id. While id is owned by Bethesda, they're good people about this shit. They're not the ones who made the Evil Within.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if things go ahead.
Was Doom a Bethesda name from the get-go, or is someone else?
No. Every Quake, Doom, and Wolfenstein are all id properties. They were made and created by id. You buy id softwares and merge them.
Wow.
And as far as
stay strong, man. Stay strong.
Exactly. That's what I think it is, because it's I believe id still is still housed by people of id. I don't think they've been destroyed from within like how EA does everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. They have to stay. We have to keep them all. We really do.
I mean, clearly they don't give a shit about what like negative people have to say about their games. They clearly don't.
Oh no.
Because
we'll get into that in a second.
Last I remember, they didn't even give a shit about their own creators because they had an Easter egg where their writing directors and stuff like that had their own heads stabbed onto pikes in the older games. They don't
exactly
care about like your negative reviews about it. It is still very much a good game because they know the negative is outdone by the positive.
Exactly.
If Bethesda wants to try and take them down for their game, or if people want to keep like pointing fingers about this, then fuck them. Doom is still going to be a good game, but I don't think like the people that work on it are even going to care. I'm trying to word this, and it's like getting scrambled. But basically, what I'm saying is like the people that work on Doom don't give in to Bethesda. Like, see what you can see every day what they do to everybody else, to their own fan base. Like, they are screwing over their own fan base with this. And they don't care. Because all they want is money.
Exactly. Whereas id in the past, I mean, we are talking about a group that put the game before anything.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the original, before Doom was coming out, the 2016 reboot, which I really wish they added like a subtitle to it. I really do.
Yeah, just put it, like, people have come to adopt it as just Doom 2016. They don't just call it Doom anymore.
Yeah, but when that was coming out, there was this huge plan to make it a very gritty first-person shooter, just basically played like a very, very poor man's version of Metro. But then they came in and said, no, fuck it. We're going to do this differently. They scrapped the entire thing and they remade it into they brought back what was popular about the 90s and revived it in such a way that everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And they'll do that. They will put game and fun in front of anything else, and they stick with it. And honestly, that's what I believe will keep them.
I know it probably has nothing to do with the game itself, but like what I like about Doom is that very clearly there's like some religious stuff in this. Like there's demons and stuff like that. They completely ignore that is a thing. Like if like, oh, you're a Christian, well, guess what? Christian or not, you're still dead. Because there's demons destroying the world. It's like they don't bring this stuff in.
Exactly.
They don't bring any of that in. And I love
exactly.
it. I'm not even a fan of the Doom games. I never grew up around it. I grew up around StarCraft. What was it? Unreal Tournament, like the old Unreal games. Half-Life. What was the other one? Diablo. That was it. That was another one. I grew up around games like Diablo. I was never raised around Doom, so I never really saw the appeal of it. I've seen the trailer of the newest game, like the newest Doom game, and I actually like it. I'm interested in it. I want to play it. I actually don't, but let's be honest, it wouldn't be bad to try.
Exactly.
The Doom 2016, it didn't really catch my attention. Granted, it was still good. Just, nah, still not interested in it.
No, and this has been the thing. To put a spotlight on, a YouTube like video game rapper group. You know, like they create like a rap song for every game that comes out, and one of the lines I loved was what was it? Ever heard of a crucifix? Nothing but a couple of useless sticks. And it's true. It really is. just and what I love about it is, of course, is that this is the game that, like, to go with Doom for a moment, right? Just real quick. I honestly believe this is the most Christian game out there, because you're actually going and dealing with fire.
Yeah, you're dealing with the demons and all that.
You're ending demons and all the evil of Earth. Is this not? It's like, is this not what they want? Is it?
Well, I don't really want to get into that. Like, we know what they really want, and it's not good. Like, let's be
Yeah, but
honest
still.
there. I still like that tidbit of information I gave you that nobody realizes is actually true.
It's still canon.
Like,
I'm go ahead.
The part about being a pope, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the only, like, personally, the only religious thing you can actually tie into the game is that the Doom guy, for all intents and purposes, is qualified to be a pope. And it's hilarious and insane to consider that, but when you really look at it, it's true. And it's so funny.
Honestly, I think we should just sanctify the man. I mean, for fuck's sake, he's going out there and he's doing, in quotations, like, he's doing God.
He's doing God's work using guns and fists. He's actually taking action. And I remember...
Exactly.
Have you seen that clip where he's walking through that room and everybody's, like, getting out of his way in terror?
Yes.
Somebody actually, like, from, like, a psychological, oh god, I don't know the right term for it. Like, somebody actually took a step back and really analyzed this. I'm scrolling through my Tumblr to find it. Because I keep reblogging the clip because I love it so much. Oh, here it is. But, like, you notice that in that clip, he's not mean. He's not angry in any way. When he grabs the guy that has the lanyard, he's very gentle with him because he knows that this isn't a demon. This is a person. They're not evil. They're just trying to live.
Exactly. He pulled the land. He could have easily snapped the guy. Instead, he grabbed him slowly and just kind of brought him to the terminal. And the thing you have to keep in mind as well is that he did this not just to keep the guy alive and get what he needs, but it was also an intimidation tactic to basically say, "Shut up, let me go do my job."
Well, it's not just that. Like, this is where the analyzing comes from. I'm gonna read this word for word. This is from Whiskey Warren on Tumblr. I am quoting them. This is how you get your information, people. This is how you reference somebody and you give the proper credit. This is from Whiskey Warren, and I quote, "I just love the fact that Doom Guy spots the key card on the dude's lanyard, and instead of doing a vicious yank or simply snapping it off the lanyard like he always does, he's very, very carefully takes it and slowly pulls the dude to the scanner before letting him go. For a dude filled with eternal rage and seething violence, that was remarkably polite of him. It was almost his, 'excuse me, I require this, pardon my rage.' Then the poor Marine, where he takes the gun from him. Doom Guy just casually approaches, looks at him, looks at his gun, and then still politely just takes it. Doesn't wrench it away or kill the guy or anything violent, just reaches out and retrieves it. Again, like, you are doing a fine job, that's a fine weapon, mind if I see it?" Takes it and walks away. It's as if he's being very, very careful not to harm normal humans, or whatever augmented humans those armored Marines qualify as, saving his violence for the demonic. kind of supports my idea that Doomguy isn't necessarily a bloodthirsty, raging psycho. He's a guy who has seen so much, done so much, that he's calm. He's so far beyond wrath at the demons that he's entered a weird calm that just lives there. Nothing shakes him of it. He doesn't grunt, he doesn't yell, he doesn't scream. He just breathes and moves on. New demon? Well, it'll bleed like the last. He doesn't revel in combat, he just moves through it like walking through air. It's a function of existence form. End quote.
Exactly. And honestly, to be fair, I think we can get off our tangent about Bethesda, jump into Doom Eternal then.
Yeah.
But what one would basically see here is there's a reason why the UAC is afraid of this guy, and that is because everybody here knows we're responsible for this shit, and at any second he'll lose. He'll basically turn on us. So let's try not to be, get in his way and just let the man do his job.
Exactly.
And honestly, again, we see this element from this element of him not being pure evil or anything of that nature in the original in Doom 2016, and that is specifically whenever Samuel in the intro, whenever Samuel Hayden continued to kind of like get him to work with them, he wouldn't have it. He always destroyed whatever terminal there was or anything of that nature. And he just did not want to work with the guy because he knew these are the guys responsible for unleashing hell and costing the lives of a lot of innocent people. I'm not working with these fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it too. Even when Hayden was basically telling me,
whoa, you're roboting.
I don't know why the connection is so bad right now. Yeah, hold on, give me a second. All right then. Am I good now?
Oh, there was a bit of a.
Hold on, I can't hear you. Hold on. How about now?
You sound fine now.
All
Whoa,
right.
I heard myself.
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah. I can't hear myself now, so that's good.
Sorry about that. Hold on. Let me know if it's going crazy again, because I'm trying to see if I can fix this in any way possible.
Time to time you are glitching, but it's not that bad. Maybe we should probably take a break then. If it's gonna keep doing this.
I think I know what's causing the glitching or the fuck ups, and that is like I suspect there could be a storm coming or something like that, because it sometimes that happens on the rare occasion. I mean, but no, it seems to be working just fine now. So
yeah.
All right. What was I saying?
I just finished that long description of psychoanalyzing Doomguy, and you were talking about how he destroys consoles owned by the people responsible for so many innocent deaths.
Exactly, and as you can imagine, he could it's like he fights demons. He fights the forces of hell and evil incarnate. So you would think that he would turn to the man-made evils aka the people responsible.
And there it goes.
What do you mean? There I go.
You broke up near the end.
Okay, that
We
was
had
weird.
man-made evils, and then it just.
Exactly. He could easily turn on the UAC because of the man-made evils they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, would you blame him?
Not really.
Exactly. So in this instance, he's justified. But anyway, well, since we're on the topic, might as well talk about the latest game. So, what did you see of the Doom Eternal?
I actually watched the video of their demo that like showed the world and what it had become. I some Even right now I'm hearing that stupid AI being so happy and calm, trying to get people to conform to it. It's like this is all a part of the plan. That sounds like a soccer mom that has 20 kids in her 6-seater van, trying to get them to calm the hell down because she can't afford McDonald's after a game.
Exactly. It was amazing. I loved seeing how they changed everything, how Earth has basically just gone to hell, literally. I
I
love the. Go ahead.
I like the design. I really like the design. It's disgusting and it's horrifying, but it's good. It is really, really good. One of my favorite levels from Alice Madness Returns was the Queen's Castle, because it was mostly like near the end where it was really nasty. It looked like you were inside like a graveyard of body parts. Like everything was made of body parts. It was really interesting and I really liked it. And I like that the guys that made the game went with that aesthetic.
Exactly. So did I. In fact, I'm linking us the some of the stuff from the trailers. You know, just images to help us bring this point home.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about environment, I figured this would uh, be a good image to start us off on.
I immediately see that there is some inspiration from Hellboy in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. With what's it called?
The Sky
With
Tentacles.
the giant squid demon that we planned to summon, but then everything just got ruined. Fuck.
Yeah. Somebody forgot to give him his baby Ruth. Somebody forgot to feed him his baby Ruths and get him a new cat because this has happened now.
This is the end of the world. Well, fuck. Yeah, honestly, it looks. I love it. I love the look. I love everything they're going. Um, they're going with. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
I also well, we might as well also show the Slayer himself and how he's been upgraded.
I did notice that he has a different gauntlet from what he had before. That was something
Oh yeah,
I paid very close attention to for the trailer.
oh, yeah. I love the new gauntlet. It's like, oh good, I get to not only do I get to beat people up, I get to just tear into them, literally.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that we've given him a Revenant shoulder cannon. Yeah, that's what it's listed as.
Like you would
Well,
think that if he's fighting demons, he has to like there has to be some demons that are that can't really be hurt too much uh by bullets. So why not use their own weaponry against it? Like upgrade yourself with what they got. Especially if it's a really strong weapon.
but actually, technically, the Revenant shoulder cannons that was made by the UAC.
Oh yeah.
So it would make sense they would have something like that lying around. It's like, yeah, just give
But
it to him.
you understand what I was trying to say? Like, the enemy has this really powerful weapon. I don't have that. I should upgrade myself with that. Okay, cool. Now I'm a badass.
Exactly. Yeah, and what I love is that this thing not only fires little grenades, it's a flamethrower too. I love that. It's like he's slightly more badass than a predator. Amazing. Honestly, though, I'm not too much of a fan of the fact that he doesn't have sleeves on. It's kind of like that's the only thing that kind of bugs me.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean,
You had a, go ahead.
That really bothers me because I know something that like I'm pretty sure the developers know, or they probably vaguely know. There is a major artery in your bicep. If that gets hit, you are screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exposed.
Well, honestly, I get why they went with the no sleeves look. It's kind of a reference to the classics.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's just he had the hell happened. It was like someone joked and said he flexed too hard and the sleeves exploded. Yeah. Also, they showed off some of the concept for I think a new boss, which is this demon.
Is it the
which
wiggly?
is called
I was gonna ask if it was the wiggly meatball, but no.
No. So this thing is called the Doom Hunter. And I think I think the UAC built this specifically should the Doomslayer betray them. They can just sick it on him.
Didn't he already do that?
What?
Didn't he already betray them?
I mean, like, actually go after them, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not necessarily blackmail, but like a
insurance policy.
Yeah. A backup idea.
Yeah, basically. I love this thing's design. I love the fact that this is like, it's clearly a demon that's dead, so they just said just stick a bunch of wires into it and just get it moving again.
This is also like the thing about Doom itself. Like, you have these demons from another dimension. They're cool. How about we slap some rocket arms on them? How about we slap some metal and jet boosters onto them? Yeah, that makes them look really scary and really cool. That is just the thing about Doom itself. And I love it.
Yeah. It's basically just shouting, fuck it, add more wires to this thing. It's not brutal enough.
Oh gosh, what was that? What was that weird? There was a joke. I just don't remember what it was. Like, we heard you like demons and guns, so here, have a demon with a gun. Something like that. Just something along those lines.
Yeah,
I remember what it was. Vaguely.
Okay.
A Warframe, server bot, instead of like making an update, they released the bees.
Oh wait,
this is what it is.
Like the Omni voice thing is like, give 1,000 plat. You want 1,000 bees? Okay, releasing bees.
That's exactly what I'm quoting here.
Oh, good. Oh man, that was so funny. Yeah. So,
I want peace on Earth. I heard you wanted demons. No, I want peace. Unleash the meatballs.
Why? Oh, right. I forgot to mention. Doom Eternal also introduces a new demon we've never seen before.
Ooh.
This one, a lot of people, nobody knows what this thing's called. It's in the far corner over there by the destroyed San Francisco Bridge. I'm pretty sure I think I know where we are now. I think this is San Francisco.
It looks a bit more like Brooklyn.
Okay, we're in Brooklyn. Fuck it. I always knew Brooklyn would be
flying thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to really zoom in on that.
This is the thing about this creature. Nobody knows where it's from. There's never been this thing in Doom at all. So nobody knows if this is a reference to another creature or whatever. So people have just kind of come to nickname it the Gargoyle. Or Harpy. Or Annoying Flying Bitch.
Mm.
Also, the tentacles we see in the background, like taking the buildings.
Yeah.
I heard that those might be new enemies we fight as well. I don't know fully. Don't quote me on that. It's a heavy possibility.
Wow.
Well, actually, there was another one in the corner.
The one standing close to the camera, so I don't just zoom in so much.
Yeah, it's like I just realized what I said.
I just noticed that, like, oh god damn it, it's right there.
Yeah, there it is. It's like, hi, I'm right over here. Yeah.
I exist too, you know.
It's like, no, ignore him. You don't matter. That one in the distance matters. Like, why?
Sometimes when we do this podcast, I suddenly think of like, what the hell would SGB say to this right now? Like, what quote from SGB could I pull out of my ass for this?
Oh, it's World 1-1.
Like, my brain immediately goes to Conquer.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, don't worry, money. There's always room for you.
Oh, right. So yeah, yeah. I'm just still gonna bring this up now. This new demon, or the concept art for this new demon, nobody knows what it is yet. However, I have two working theories as to what this demon might be or who he might be. So, possibility number one, this demon is like the shade of the Doom guy. Like it's a demon born from his hatred and taken shape. That's possibility number one. The other, and the one I hope they go with, is that this guy's his teacher.
Oh boy.
Like the guy who actually mentored him on demon slaying. I mean, look at him. It really does look like that could be the case.
Yeah, you can kind of see it with the arm that has the gun.
Yeah.
That,
and in fact,
or it was somebody he knew that was trying to do the same thing.
Also possible.
Because like we were just talking, like that company that's just causing all this bull crap for the world. I wouldn't put it past another person to be going somewhat along the same path that the Doom guy is, but they're not really, I guess you say, following him. If that makes sense. They're going along a different route. While Doom
they're doing it their way. They're doing it their way.
Well, no, it's like while Doom guy is being smart about like what he's doing, he destroys consoles that these people want him to use because they're causing innocent people to die, and the demons are more important than like some person that has a lanyard around his neck. Like this other guy would very much, like very quickly, turn on these people because fuck it, we're all gonna die, and this person with a lanyard is not giving me the goddamn lanyard. You know, it's something like that.
Yeah, that could also be the case. Again, this guy has been, and I'm hoping we get to see, like moving forward. I really do hope that's the case.
Personally, if this thing and the Doom guy clash, because I noticed that the Doom guy had that sword and this one has an axe, I am going to grab my tablet and play that Star Wars song when Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi are fighting because they both have laser weapons right now.
Yes. Oh, and there was also this piece that they kept showing, and this has really caught my eye. I mean, look at all that. Assuming it fucking loads. Come on.
I'm waiting.
Again, I hate when that happens. Just like, look at this thing. It's like, what? Well, shit, it's not done.
It's worse when like Discord glitches and instead of showing the picture, it shows the picture not found image, which is just a piece of poop.
Yeah, and it's like,
So,
oh,
look at this
God,
amazing
God
image.
damn it.
It's poop.
There we go.
Oh yeah, this thing looks almost like a. I see like vague hints of like Orkin for me.
Yeah, to me, it seems more H.R. Geiger.
That too. That too.
But more refined, you know? Like, all his stuff is always, like, very organic and biomechanical. This is more like it's pure mechanical, but it's trying to imitate biomechanicalness.
I think this might be angelic as opposed to the demonic.
It's possible. Well, this is something I've noticed. I've noticed that they stated that they want to expand the Doom lore, which also means they might be talking, you know, demon, like what else is there. And my thought is, what if this creature is the betrayer, the demon that forged the Doomslayer's armor and was said to be he who will not be spoken of?
Voldemort?
No. They flat out say they'll never. Like, this isn't a curse thing. This is just we hate him so much he will never be remembered.
Ah.
So what I'm thinking is, like, while the demons and everything kind of fell to ruins, you know, like started to de-evolve as a society, he remained and just kind of tried to push ahead, you know, keep going. And then he created all this. Speaking of, I do need to preface this as well. Some of the demons we're going to be facing are actually not born from hell. Believe it or not, there are demon-human hybrids in the game.
I kind of noticed that in their demo. Like
Yeah, you notice
some
the
of the
demons
creatures you fight aren't even demonic. Like they look like they used to be people.
Exactly, and it's clear these aren't the possessed either, because the possessed don't have eyes; they just have a giant hole in the cranium. These guys, like I said, in a lot of the Doom stuff I've read as of late, they mentioned that there were experiments by the UAC to bridge human DNA with demon, and what I think we're seeing now is the results of that, because you've got the practically naked ones all over the place.
The ones that look
And
kind
then
of like zombies.
Yeah, and then you've got some of them have cybernetics, and then you got the mohawked looking guys.
Yep.
With the red glowing eyes.
Yep.
And the more I look at it, the more that seems possible. Not only that, but when you go in the gameplay and in the trailers, you can see them fighting each other, which I believe is a heavy hint to imply that the demons don't like these hybrids and want to get rid of them. Like, maybe they see them as impure demons. Impure. Wow, that's saying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, even the new.
I think it is a pure thing, because I think the demons see these attempts at like from what I saw from the demo, the company is trying to embrace the demons, like try and embrace this new change, but the demons just do not care. They don't care. They want you dead. They want to take over. You made hybrids of us.
Exactly.
That is not okay. We just want you gone.
Exactly, and even the Another thing to point out as well is that
The what?
are also in Mancubus,
Oh.
the fat guys.
Oh, yeah.
They are incredibly different from the originals. They're more human. Human in quotations here.
Large quotations.
Well, I could show. You know what? Fuck it. We might as well show the concept art. Because fuck it.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I saw these guys in the demo, and my immediate thought was like, oh my gosh, those are like those really really big guys from Serious Sam Battle for Earth.
Exactly.
Because like,
Except
they're essentially the exact same thing. They're these giant things that have rockets on their arms, and they're not very pretty.
exactly. Well, yeah, but Serious Sam's version, you can tell they're like multiple just put together. These guys are just one very very big fat man.
Yeah. Then,
Yeah, but
like, we already know that with Serious Sam, they are strictly aliens and genetic experiments of some madman.
exactly. But this is what I want to point out. Like I'm putting here, and this is the thing I want to point out. The Mancubus from the 2016 game, they're demons. Like they're natural flesh and blood demons. Where the new Mancubus are these very obese, clearly human hybrids. Like I actually believe they attempted to breed people with a Mancubus, and these are the results. And they just basically said, just start lopping off pieces and start cyberizing the thing. Which honestly, if that's the case, then the USC is more fucked up than I imagined.
I mean, clearly they have an AI telling you to remain calm, that everything, that this destroyed Earth is all a part of the plan.
Exactly.
They're really off their rocker.
They just said, fuck it, we're fine. It's like, no, it's not. And it isn't just the man. Like I said, all these the human-made ones, or the hybrids. It's very clear the UIC just said, "Fuck it, throw it to the wall," and this is what we got now. Not only that, but the other thing to point out as well is that what was I going to say? Yeah, not only that, but I love the fact that they're trying their hardest to keep the everything just under control, and it's failing to no end. In fact, the big thing that I noticed as well is that, oh, by the way, this is an odd thing I noticed in the entire gameplay trailer. The Hell Knights have eyes now. Just what?
Wow.
I know this sounds weird for me to like kind of point out, but it is kind of weird. Like, what happened? How did they get eyes? I'm so confused. Again, it's very, you can't see it in the gameplay because the guy is just butchering things, but when you slow it down and they get stabbed, you can see the eyes looking at you, and they're like pure pale, not no, they're black orbs with like a very blue iris, and it's really disturbing to look at. It's like I saw it and was like, please stop, look away, look away. Also, their skin color kind of changed as well, to the point where I've decided to call these particular Hell Knights Silverback Hell Knights, because that's what the skin color really does look like. It looks like they're silverbacked. I'm hoping that name sticks, and if it doesn't, god damn it. But yeah. What else was I? Right. So another thing I want to talk about as well from Doom Eternal is the weapons. My God. It's like we all know what you guys were waiting for. We're gonna talk about them.
By the way, I put a link to the Doom demo, like the 17-minute long one that's showing all these clips, in the description on
good.
YouTube and in the chat, both on YouTube and Twitch. So you guys will understand what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also going to be like showing some of these weapons off, like the one we saw, just to like give visual aid, not visual aid. Sorry, just kind of keep the screen entertained. Actually, no. Let this image specifically sum up my feelings when I saw the BFG 10,000. Let this one just be me. Just let you all know how I felt.
Wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the gun! Oh my gosh!
I want that. I'm going to take it, goddamn. I'm gonna find a way to rip this thing off the station and take it with me.
I want to share this, but somebody has drawn on it, so.
Mm. Well, I'm very happy, is what it is.
Well, for those
Just
of you who like, if people do click on the links, it's very it's very obvious what we're talking about. A big fucking gun.
It's the fucking Death Star. That's what it is.
I actually thought of that when I saw it.
That fire that doesn't need to charge up. Oh wait, actually, You said like we want to show it. It's like, oh look, I found it, like without a drawing.
Okay.
It's just so much yes. I want this. God damn it! I'm going to take it. I'm going to find it. Oh, actually, there's a logo on the back of the gun. I just noticed that.
Oh.
Yeah, right towards the butt of the gun. There is the letters UAC printed on the side.
Oh yeah, I saw. See that? Yeah.
It's egotistical, aren't you? Yeah, well, if I invented something that amazing, you know damn well.
That's like gosh, what's like the right comparison here? I keep wanting to say Wayland Yutani. Because you see their logos everywhere. No, by and large from Wally. Or
Exactly. Yeah.
or even Acme, just from like the old cartoons. When you see their names stamped on something, either something is gonna go wrong or something amazing is about to happen. In the sense that it's going to fail.
Exactly. But in this case, it's fucking glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So some of the new weapons they showed off as well was a new shotgun, which I actually kind of like. So it actually has. This is something I've noticed about Doom Eternal's weapons. They all have an alt fire mode, so it's not just mods this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And the shotgun, it fires a shotgun shell, but it also has a launcher function that shoots a sticky grenade. I thought that was fucking amazing. And adding a Gatling gun feature to the barrels was a stroke of brilliance. Actually, you know what's funny? Years and years and years ago, when I met you guys, right? Like you and Bill.
Yeah.
I remember telling Bill this specifically. I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we could create a shotgun that could be used like a minigun? And he said, oh, that's never going to happen. Well, what now, Bill? It's happened.
Oh man.
Like, I'm gonna shove the fact it exists in his face. It's like, look, you said it never could be done. Well, look, here it is.
Granted, he's not gonna remember.
Oh, I'm gonna
remember what
him.
you're talking about. You have to really remind him.
No, just I'm going to reinstall Skype, go back through the years and years of history, and then bring up that one conversation and say, look, fucker, you said it. Oh man. But still, it's an amazing weapon, and I'm so happy it's back. I am.
Yay.
Yeah. Then we've got this weird one, which I think is supposed to be the replacement for the railgun. Well, actually, no, it's called ballista.
Wait for it.
It's kind of odd if you ask me. I mean, in both design and what it's meant to replace.
Oh yeah, I saw this in the demo. I thought it was really cool.
Well, here's the interesting thing. The ballista has two fire modes, and that is the first one like shoots both of the barrels at the front of this thing, kind of like the railgun. And the alt fire mode is firing a blast of pure energy from the center that destroys anything. But here's the thing. I'm looking at this thing, and it doesn't scream UAC. It screams this was a demon weapon.
Yeah.
Like you see the little skull at the back of the gun, how dirty, how nasty this thing is. You know, the fact it's powered by Argent energy. And your only thought is this really a UAC gun, or was this made by the demons? We just kind of took it.
I definitely think it might be a demon made, because I'm comparing this to your Gatling gun shotgun and also the BFG, which is on the screen right now, but the blister looks organic in a way. It's like it's got an organic design to it. While
Yes.
while UAC is angular, it's militaristic. It does not look round. I guess you could say round or organic at all. It's just like this is by a blueprint, and this other thing is by mold.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it, because I think it's mentioned somewhere that some demon weapons are grown in hell. Like the Doom 3's original Pinky Demon, for example.
Your favorite?
They said, and I quote, "Pinkies are born a mold and a mass of flesh, and in order to take form or be born, I suppose in quotations, they have to eat their way out of their own flesh. Hence why they look the way they do." And I think they're kind of running with that idea. Like some of these weapons are like actually grown in hell and just kind of taken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. The machine gun was an interesting idea. I mean, I like the design. It's very clearly a pump sort of weapon, kind of cool. Not too much of a fan of it. I actually think it's weaker than the original. That's just me.
Is
If
it
there
that
was an
gun?
image
Is
of
it
it.
the gun that he takes from the soldier, or is that something
No,
else?
no. That's a plasma weapon. The other one had the scope on the top.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not too much of a fan of it. In fact, I like it better than the original. You know, it just feels the pumping is not as strong as the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you were saying we were just talking about the ballista. The new rocket launcher actually kind of follows that organic look, but it's more stainless steel than it is organic, if you ask me.
Yeah, it does have like a skull on the side that would make you think that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like a hybridized thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe that could be the same thing, because it really does. What's the word? it really does feel like this is something the UAC built. However, here's another thing I also want to bring up. In Doom 2016, we do have an example of a demon weapon, the Reaper, and that thing actually has a little lost soul skull in it. So if we take this at face value, maybe all demon weapons start off as an organic. All demon weapons are organic creatures that fire energy, and the UAC has kind of taken the designs of these creatures and attempted to replicate them as guns. Hence why, like, the rocket launcher still has a skull on the side. Maybe the demon version had a lost soul in the side of the weapon.
Likely, very likely.
Hey, if this is the case, and they actually have models for organic versions, I'd take it. I'd go for it. Like, in all honesty.
If the UAC is like doing the whole embrace the fact that we're like embrace the idea of demon world, I really wouldn't put it past them to do the same thing with guns and weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to embrace it, and once again, the demons don't care.
Exactly. And since we're on it as well, let's also bring the attachment to the super shotgun, referred to as meat hook.
Oh, I know this one. I think I do. But
yeah.
Yes,
I love them.
I love this gun.
There was someone I watched on YouTube who just exploded, loving everything, and he was saying like things of shotgun, minigun, sick, Gatling laser, sick, sword that should have been in the original game, cancer, and by that I mean fucking sick.
I like this. I really, really do like this.
And the fun thing is that if you slow down the trailer just enough, you can see the meat hook icon appear in the level, which means we get to grapple around the level itself. Yes.
Yay.
So much yes. Hell, I love the fact that we can use it to get to close the distance with demons.
Here's the thing about this.
Mm-hmm.
I can safely say, out of memory, there is no game that does this. You have hook attachments in games, but it's not attached to the gun. The closest you'll ever get is a harpoon gun, and those things are usually terrible.
Exactly.
But this, we have a shotgun that has essentially scorpion attached to it.
Yes. Again, sick. I love it. I will pay money to have a replica of this thing. Like, it doesn't even need to fire anything. I just want one. Just put it on the wall, just in the corner. Just, yes, this is mine. What else? All right, and the last weapon we might as well show off. The weapon the Doom Marine took, Doomslayer took from the guy's hands.
Okay.
This is the plasma rifle. This is the only weapon I find kind of, specifically because we've seen the original one from the previous game. And hello?
Oh no, I'm still yours. I only saw like 2 episodes of like Mark's play of Doom 2016, so I don't really know the plasma rifle.
Yeah, all right, I'll bring one up real quick. Now, what I find weird, being original, it is this white weapon with a very like rifle design to it, whereas this thing now is kind of just bulky, you know. And
No.
my only thought when I see the two side by side is, is the new one supposed to be like the prototype to this, or what?
I think the new one we're seeing is a, I guess you'd say like a more enhanced version of this. Because like I'm looking at the wire one, and whoa, that's a big image. And my first thought is like, that is kind of small.
It is, but it's not. It's like yeah, I can see what you mean. It's fucking not.
Also,
No.
when he grabs the gun from the Marine, my other thought is like, how is he managing to keep a hold of that if it's that fucking thick?
I just assume he just dug his fingers into like the grooves of the thing.
Well, he doesn't even do that. Like, you see him grab it. It's as though he's grabbing a it's like he's just grabbing a ball or something. His hand it may be huge, but it's not big enough to wrap around that thing. And he's just grabbing it like
He
it's
has
nothing.
he has an incredible there.
Incredible what?
Incredible finger grips.
Sticky finger.
Exactly.
Like before
the underside.
when he grabbed the lanyard, the guy had forgotten to wash his hands, so it was like all sticky from like a Snickers bar.
Exactly. And he's like, no, fuck it, I'll use this. Hence why he can wall climb now. That was kind of weird though. The wall climbing was, I mean, I can see where it could be useful, but at the same time, like kind of like this doesn't seem right.
Oh, where he grabs a ledge and hoists himself up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Cool.
just climbing up the actual climbing up a wall thing.
Oh yeah.
That was like, I mean, he's a what, a 10,000-pound man or something?
Nah, he's probably reaching like 300 to 400 pounds. And that's not including his armor.
Still, I just find it weird. Doom Slayer to me doesn't look like he could wall climb. Like, use a ledge or something to swing off of, sure. Climb, not that much.
He can jump, so I don't really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be surprised if he could climb.
Well, true, but the jumping is like he still has the thruster boots from the previous game, so. Yeah, so I guess we could say he can do the jumping, the throwing himself from the ledges thing really well because he has those thrusters and they give him an extra boost. I think that's about it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was like, all right. And the chainsaw does, but it is kind of like just an updated version of the model. So no need to show it.
Yeah.
However, there is something I do want to bring up. It has decided to introduce an invasion mechanic, like in Dark Souls.
Oh boy. I never really understood that with Dark Souls. The Spectre, like the Phantom thing.
Yeah, well, this time around, when you go in to fight quote unquote fight the Doom Slayer, you can pick what demon you want to be, and then appear as the demon, which makes more sense than just, oh look, I can see you from another world. Personally, I like this idea because it was a proven, it worked well in the Doom multiplayer. It proved it worked. So to see it here realized as a new form, amazing. And I can see just hours upon hours of fun. And griefing. Lots of griefing. Hell, I even love the fact that Bethesda acknowledged the duped meme. Because one of the in the moment where we saw the invasion happen, one of the two was a revenant, and above above him was the name Doot Slayer. They've acknowledged the meme. It's amazing.
Oh god, I love that video with the weird noise.
I've
watched it on repeat.
So freaking stupid. No, here's the funny thing. When that moment happens, by the way, we're talking about the moment when the Doomslayer smacks the hybrid imp's head in. With the original version, the one that doesn't have the beep in it, like the fan edited beeping noise, you actually hear the demon go like before it falls over. It's kind of funny.
Dude.
But yeah, is there anything else we need to cover on this before we forget? Right. There are some new demons I forgot to mention. Some of them are just updated versions, like the imps are now slightly stronger. Like a lot of these demons we're facing now, the quote unquote new ones, I kind of call them the evolved version, because that's what they kind of look like. It's like all this energy's just kind of caused their bodies to change and transform. And one of the new demons they brought in is the Arachnotron. Do you know what that one is?
Nope.
Or heard of the name before? Okay. The Arachnotron is the brain spider.
Mm-hmm.
It's the giant brain with the face with the legs.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, and this is what I think is happening right now. I think that these were created by Samuel Hayden specifically to help the UAC control the demons, because their previous leader was the Spider Mastermind. But unfortunately, it didn't go as planned. So they're kind of like, well, shit. Actually, you know what's crazy? When I was looking at the gameplay, I noticed that whenever the Arachnotron was on screen, the demons seemed more organized, more ready to fight. But when it was gone, or when they were dead, the demons just kind of reverted back to their sort of feral nature. So I think that wherever they are brought in, like whenever these arachnotrons are on the field, I suspect that they fight. They give order and stability to the other demons, and if you take them out, they kind of like lose that stability.
A bit.
And become
a bit like a brain bug, and a bit like a hive mind.
Exactly, but it's more localized.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of cool with. Actually, you know what they honestly remind me of? Those the brain chickens from Serious Sam.
Yeah, I was actually about to say that. Like design-wise, they look like a what were they? Bio. I'm gonna look this up because I love Serious Sam so much. So.
Like it's like Biotroid, right? Bionoid.
Biomechanoid.
Biomechanoid. That's it. Yeah, that's what they kind of remind me of. Just a very more, I guess you could say, stunted version.
They're the version that doesn't have two legs. Like they went with a smaller version.
Yes. Which again, I'm okay with. I'm not too, just kind of happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Barons of Hell also got like a huge update to the design. I like the blades they've got now. Though honestly, I think, and this is just me theorizing, I think the Order of Hell has been changed. And by that I mean the what's it called? I think someone has now taken over the leadership of Hell and has reshuffled the deck. Because now the Barons are like, where before they kind of like sent in their minions to fight first, now they're the ones leading their forces into battle. Which is why I'm kind of this is why I'm just kind of like questioning what's going on. Who is leading new army.
Yeah.
Yes. And one of the demons I'm very happy to see again is the pain elemental.
I thought you were gonna say, I'm so happy to see the pain in the ass. What?
No. I love the design of these little meatballs of death.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah, the mouth design is
They look kind of like beholders from D&D.
actually the Kako demons were designed after the beholders, the originals. But obviously due to legal reasons and things of that nature, they couldn't call them that. Change the design.
Yeah, they do look
Again,
like biomechanoids. Holy cow.
creepy. Actually, here's the thing, and this is like a slight side note to everyone. A lot of the original Doom demon designs were all based off of D&D stuff. Like a lot of them. Again, in a future episode, we might cover this in detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, I'm incredibly happy to see these things back. Huge fan of the demons originally. So happy to see these things getting attention and touch-ups. So nice. Even the arc vial and how he looks now is just amazing. I wish I could show you what he looks like, but there's no clear image of what they look like outside of the stupid trailer stuff. Yeah. Oh man. I think we've got everything we need. Is there anything else we're missing? No, I think we're good.
Yep.
All right, and that was our coverage of Doom Eternal.
That took basically an entire hour because we're now on the 2-hour mark.
Oh, good. So join us next time when we do our review of Doom Eternal.
You're gonna be the one playing that. I hope you realize.
No, I don't doubt it. Again, I need to speak to you about something later, but yeah. All right then. What else? Yeah, that was Doom Eternal. So now we're on to, I suppose, our last topic of the evening.
Yep.
From high speed, amazing action to rather boring. To exactly. So here we are with our, I guess our winding down game for the evening.
I actually, while we were talking about Doom, I went to Steam to look at this. I have no memories of this game.
Funny you say that.
I know.
So, Remember Me.
That's the name of the game.
Exactly. It was an interesting concept on paper. You play as a hacker who can enter people's minds and rewrite their memories to make them more compatible with helping you.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting. Unfortunately, the game itself is not that interesting.
There's a lot of positive reviews, of course, but
yeah,
I looked at the trailer and all I could think was, this is sort of like Mirror's Edge.
Except in France.
Yeah. Which is like the way the main character looked and the colors they went with for her looked like Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I love the aesthetic designs. I love the concept. I love some of the enemies. The Saber guards, the Saber, as in the task force. It is like an acronym or something.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of you going in and rewriting memories to make people, to disable or get people to agree with you. It's kind of a cool idea, but it is also kind of a messed up concept too. Like for example, the main protagonist, Nilin, her parents are very rich, very well off people. And they get this way because her father creates an artificial intelligence which purpose is to store memories that people don't want. It's like a big recycle bin. over time, her parents got more and more wealthy, well off, etc., and her father became more uh, what's the word I'm looking for? More enraptured with his work to the point where he just kind of started ignoring her flat out.
Yeah.
Her mother was her mother was kind of the same, where um, she still was with her, but she treated her more like a nuisance, and it only got worse after they suffered a car accident which Nilin unintentionally caused. The kid in the backseat wanting to open a present. You know, they do it anyways. They get the parents' attention. They don't pay attention to the road, and they get hit with a car. This kind of changes her mother. She stops being a caring figure. She becomes incredibly cruel. She runs the company, and she basically just keeps everyone away from their families because she views them as weak. Yada yada yada. Hell, she's messed up. She even has the wreckage of the car in her office to remind her, "I'm strong because I walked away from this."
Yeah.
I mean,
That's really fucked up.
it's not just fucked up. It's more like I get what this is. It's a coping mechanism, so you don't focus on the trauma of an accident. But at the same time, it's just kind of like it's not right. Like to bring an example to the YouTuber Mini Lad, for example. I don't know the details entirely of this. I do know he was in a car accident.
I know the story. I watched his video about it.
Okay, what exactly
So he
happened?
and a good friend of his were crossing a street. This is like, here's the thing. They're crossing a street. They're on foot. And a white
Mhm.
pickup truck blasted them. Went right by them, completely ignored the lights, completely ignored the intersection, stuff like that, and smashed into them. Don't know if it was a
I
drunk
see.
driver. Don't know if it was a driver sleeping at the wheel. In all honesty, he didn't care. Just, it happened. That's that.
Mm-hmm.
But it left Minnie with a very badly injured leg and pelvis, while his other friend was unconscious for a few days and really needed surgery to uh, get back on his feet.
Right.
So that was like the biggest scare. But today, like, Minnie keeps going, and it's as though the accident never even happened. He doesn't even talk about it. Nobody talks about it. It's
Exactly.
because, like, he moved on. He's doing fine now. He's just fine. Granted,
Yeah, but
he still has a bit of like a limp time to time, but he's fine.
well, it isn't just like he's fine. It's also um, it isn't just like he's moved on for it. He has a sort of borderline psychotic hatred towards the vehicle itself. Like if you mention white Bugatti or something, whatever the name of that car, he goes mental. Like not on you, but he launches into this like mini rant, no pun intended, about the vehicle itself. He's like, you know what, fuck you, I'm banning you.
Yeah.
You have the right to do that. But you get what I mean. He copes with the trauma through a sort of anger towards the vehicle itself. Not the driver, not the events, just the vehicle. That's the outlet of the slight anger he has. Which again I think is fine. He deserves it. Like you won't see me ever be an asshole about it and says, ha ha ha, you almost I never would do that. But you get where I'm getting with this. It makes
I do actually understand where you're going with this, because I actually do somewhat of the same thing.
there we
Like,
go.
but for me, well, here's the thing: it is insanely toxic to keep your anger focused on a person and not like an inanimate object or a word. Because when you're holding hatred towards a person that has nothing to do with what happened to you, uh, you're no better than than that entire moment of being hit. Just that entire
Exactly.
moment. because the person driving the exact same type of vehicle is not that person that caused this problem for you.
Yes. Again, I think it's healthier to have a hatred towards the inanimate object, not the people behind it, just the vehicle or the item or anything like that. That's fine. As long as you're not going out and hurting the person behind it. Because honestly, they probably don't even know you. And for you to just lose your shit and start calling them every name under the sun is not, not the way to go about it.
Here's the thing. Anybody who actually has a soul or heart or even a brain, when they cause a car accident, they remember you. They remember the person they hit. It sticks with them, and they don't like that. And it's not that they're like heartless about it. It's that they are filled with so much regret and so much grief about what they have done. The driver of that car still remembers Minnie and his friends. It's very likely he doesn't remember them too much. We don't know what he was doing behind the wheel. But all in all, he remembers them.
Yeah, but here's an honest question, though. Do you think at any point, like this is ask this question. Do you think this is a slight side note, but I want to ask this question. Do you think at any point that guy would ever come to Minnie or anything like that, like Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and say, "Hey, I'm sorry"?
I think they were both in the hospital, something like that.
But so the driver too?
I think so. I don't remember very much about the video. I just remember that. Oh no, either the driver crashed elsewhere, and he got arrested. All I know is that Minnie does not hold the guy responsible for what happened. But
all right.
That driver is still gonna have regret for what he's done.
Yes, fair enough. And honestly, good on Minnie for being a bigger man about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But anyway, getting back to the point here. What I was getting at with Nilan's mother was that she, like I said, she keeps the car around as a coping mechanism. And when Nilan remixes the memory and makes it seem like something else happened, it's actually for the better. She actually makes a concerted effort to change as a human being. And I think that's one of the few times, I believe that's one of the few times where, what's it called? Remixing a memory in the game is a good thing. Like, this isn't you trying to remove, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Trying to remove a mistake, something like that.
Yeah, you're trying to actively
heal something.
Exactly, where everything else is kind of like a means to an end sort of. And yeah, hell, all the characters are kind of what?
I'm gonna mute myself real quick. Keep talking.
All right. Well, what I was saying was that all the characters are quite creative. They're interesting. They're very interestingly designed. They all kind of stand out as a sort of futuristic, almost borderline. What's the word I'm looking for here? Borderline future-looking. Just in general, looking people. And honestly, it could have easily been just a substance. Look over substance kind of game. But instead, they actually try to give this place an interesting story, an interesting creative angle. And honestly, I think it did well. And unfortunately, it's just the game itself wasn't too terribly interesting. It didn't really stick with a lot of people. And where, unlike most games, ended with a sequel bait, this one just kind of ended definitively. The bad guy, in quotations, was stopped. The place would get better and maybe things would change. And as far as I know, there was never a sequel created for Remember Me, which honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I could check right now and maybe no. Let me see real quick. There might have been something. All right, let's see. Okay, so it was created. So Remember Me founded, well, not founded, but like published by Capcom.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So Remember Me did have a sequel in the works. And according to some sources like GameSpot, from an article from 2015 on March 10th, they needed approval from Capcom to go through with it. But I think it's pretty obvious Capcom just said no, we're not going to do this. And honestly, if that's the case, I don't mind it too much. I mean, in terms of like, what's the word? In terms of like what there was for the oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? In terms of hold on. In terms of story and everything, there really wasn't any need to make a new story moving forward. Like I said, it all just kind of came to a quick and decisive end. And honestly, at that point, would a new one really be needed? I don't think so. Still, now into the bad. Enemy variety for Remember Me was rather poor, and very few enemies really stood out. Like I said, you had the aforementioned Saber group, and they were like very much they were human enemies. They could fight you with like they could fight you, they could punch you. They usually had stun batons and all that stuff. Actually, another thing I want to mention: there are no guns in the game whatsoever. Nobody has guns.
I did see in one of the pictures there was like a gun locker, but there weren't. I didn't see any weapons either.
Yeah, they hold on. The weapons everyone what's the word I'm looking for here? All the weapons seem to stem as no, excuse me. Weapons stem from just what's the word? Just melee. Anytime a weapon or a rifle or anything is used, it's usually just mounted on a ship. And by that logic, it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, given that what's her face, that Nilin causes them so many problems and tries to stop them, you would think they would start bringing out the guns by now, but they never do.
Are they aware that she's doing this though?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Apparently, people and technology are so well in that cyber terrorism takes on a new meaning. People can actively like infiltrate someone's memories and like trick them into believing that they gave away their entire life savings to this one guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Nilin actively is one of the most famous cyber terrorists out there. She's infamous because she not only can fight, but she's also capable of rewriting memories so strongly. She's a serious threat, and they treat her as such. Hell, when they finally capture her, they try to wipe her memories entirely. That is how much of a threat she is. Of course, it doesn't. It's like it half works. It does hit her memories, but she still retains something. It's really weird. Yeah. Other than that, most of the other, like I said, most of the other enemies are just kind of very very generic, I want to say. Like you got the guys in combat armor, you've ghoul-like enemies who apparently appear because sometimes memories overload someone's mind, and it has a physical defect to their bodies, which is it's interesting, but it ultimately doesn't go anywhere. Reavers, I think they call them. And of course, you got the robots, which actually are one of the most amazing looking enemies in the entire game, and that is saying something. Like one of them is, I believe, referred to like the very angelic, has a white porcelain like face to her, but has like these huge claws. She could just probably crush you and can fly too. Then you got like these big faceless brawler robots that can pick you up and crush you if they really wanted to. It's really, like I said, it's really impressive. But these are the only enemies that really stick out and catch your attention. Everybody else is kind of very generic, and I think that's what kind of helped make Remember Me become, forgotten effectively.
As ironic as that is.
Yeah, like everyone's kind of poked, not really remembered as, which is again, it's both funny and kind of sad. And honestly, I'm not surprised Capcom released the game and never followed it up. That is actually something a lot of people, what they did a lot back in the day was basically every time a, a group of people came to Capcom to release a game, there was never a sequel. It was only just a one-time use. And in fact, let me look it up real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Right, there was Asura's. That's one of the examples. Which it was a very impressive fighting game, but it never really got a sequel. Again, it was a completely self-contained story, and it didn't really have room for a sequel at the ending.
Yeah.
Let's see. If it wasn't Resident Evil or Marvel vs. Capcom or anything, it's as if where EA is the masters of sequel bait for games. Every game has to end in a cliffhanger. Capcom is more like, okay, here's an opportunity to make this game. Here's an opportunity to make the story. You got to wrap it up within your first game. And if it does really well, maybe we'll give you a sequel. Maybe.
That makes very little sense, but at the same time, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I see it more like if there's room in the story for a sequel to exist, but the first part is like so self-contained it could be its own story without a sequel, then that's the only times I think they've said, yeah, go ahead, make another game, it's fine. Again, it's this weird period of time. I can't remember the date specifically, but there was a weird period of time where they created they released games that were like a one-time off, and these games never got a sequel to them. Another one is like Vanquish, which I like to call Metal Gear Rising before Metal Gear Rising. Yeah, it was I own the game. It's quite fun. High action, high octane. Again, it's like playing a Warframe, but get-go. Oh, and the other one, Binary Domain, also released by Capcom, and also didn't get a sequel, even though there was a cliffhanger ending. Again, it's weird. It's confusing. Still, all these games kind of a kind of thing going on with them. Interesting idea, interesting premise, doesn't do too well. Is fun in the short term, but not in the long term, and then just kind of vanishes from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Again, at least they're not as bad as EA, who demands that every new IP has to well over 1 billion copies, or else it's never going to get released. But by the way, I'm not joking. That was a
Yeah,
thing.
I know you're not.
So angry. So very, very angry. All right. Where are we in terms of time?
We are at 2 hours 26 minutes. I almost read that as 2 minutes 26 seconds. Okay.
I see. We've been okay. Well, I suppose that's fair. It's not really the 3-hour mark, but at least it's the 2-hour mark. Unless there's anything else you want to cover real quick before we call it a session.
Nah, I'm good.
All right then. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This week's episode of Left for Random Talk. We hope to see you guys again real soon next Thursday. So once again, this has been Rev.
And I've HH.
And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
So as per usual, it's me in the audience. Or whoever might still be around. Whoa, it's big text. Just shrink it down a little bit. No. Shrink. There we go. So I say this at the end of every stream, and I've gotten to the point of being a little bit hostile. Or a little, I guess you'd say a little aggressive when I put the links on my Tumblr and also in my Discord chat. I'm not going to ask you to click on the link in the description to donate. I'm not going to ask you to click the creeper face to donate. I have to keep those there because someday soon they will start to work. But what I can ask, and this is why I've been getting kind of aggressive, because it's just been getting on my nerves. Instead of donating to our shows or to our streams, to support us, instead, what would really help us out is if you took the YouTube and Twitch links that I post on Tumblr and in my Discord. I guess it also goes live on Twitter, and share them. Get the word out. Just share them with whoever you think might actually like the bullcrap that we're talking about here. But yeah, donating is not going to help. Sharing the links will. Getting the streams out there will. But I am working on getting the donations working. I keep saying this and I keep meaning it. It's going to start working someday. Soon, I hope. I can't give promises. There's no real need for that. But for now, I thank you guys for watching. My friend Rev and I have been working on this show for a very long time. And we hope you guys enjoy and keep enjoying for as long as it lasts. Because let's be honest, YouTube is not going to last forever. Yeah, have a good one, everybody, and keep cool out there.